Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fought Jake Paul over the weekend. Now he's been arrested by ICE. The Department of Homeland Security announced Immigration and Customs Enforcement. ICE detained prominent Mexican boxer and criminal illegal alien Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and is processing him for expedited removal from the United States. Chavez is a Mexican citizen who has an active arrest warrant in Mexico for his involvement in organized crime and trafficking, firearms, ammunition, and explosives. In August 2023, he entered the country legally with the B2 tourist visa that was valid until February of 2024. Chavez is also believed to be an affiliate of the Sinaloa cartel, a designated foreign terrorist organization. ICE arrested Chavez in Studio City, California on July 2nd. On April 2nd of last year, Chavez filed an application for lawful permanent resident status. Chavez's application was based on his marriage to a U.S. citizen who is connected to the Sinaloa cartel through prior relationship with the now deceased son of the infamous cartel leader Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. On January 14, 2023, a district judge issued an arrest warrant for Chavez for the purpose of organized crime, for the purpose of committing crimes of weapons trafficking and manufacturing crimes in the modality of those who participated in clandestinely bringing weapons, ammunition, cartridges, explosives into the country, and those who manufacture weapons, ammunition, cartridges, and explosives without the corresponding permit. Turkey LL Sheikh says the Gypsy King Tyson Fury will be back. I talked with him, and I have his word to have him in Riyadh season in 2026. We have a rabbit to hunt. Ilya Topuria thinks Makhachev moved up to 170 to avoid him, but he's talked about going up to 170 to win a second title for a long time, even before Topuria was in the division.
My real goal always was Islam. But since he decided to run away, it has to be Charles.
Do you think did Islam go up to 170, Ilya, to avoid you? Is he scared to fight you?
Listen, I think that he took a great decision. If the UFC would offer him to fight against Justin Gaethje or some another contender in the division, I think that he would stay at 155. But with me coming up, he was like, I don't have to take this risk. I'm going to move up to the 170. I'm going to try to get another belt. And that's all, because he knows that I'm dangerous. He knows that I'm going to put him to sleep. Even Khabib. The only reason they don't want me to fight against him, because they know that I'm going to beat him.
With Topuria out of the division, now Volk is the champion. Movsar Evloev will take on Aaron Pico. Diego Lopez will take on John Silva. Yair Rodriguez apparently fighting Arnold Allen, according to Arnold Allen, which leaves Volk without a fight because people thought Yair Rodriguez would be fighting him. And Brian Ortega will be fighting Aljamain Sterling next. Sterling wanted to fight with Ortega. He didn't necessarily want to fly all the way to China to do it, but it will be in Shanghai as the co-main event. 3 5-minute rounds and 5 5-minute rounds for the main event, but probably not needed because Zhang Mingyang against Johnny Walker will end in a stoppage more than likely. Zhang Mingyang has 19 wins. All 19 are stoppages. All 19 are stoppages in the first round. So some crazy finishing stats for Zhang Mingyang. He will have the hometown fans in his favor against Walker. Dustin Poirier says he went into the Makhachev fight with a couple broken ribs that were accidentally broken in training by Mateusz Gamrot. Some people contend that Makhachev fought that fight with a staph infection, so there's also that.
My last fight, the Islam fight, I had 2 broken ribs going into the fight, and I knew it was going to be a wrestling grind. My wife wanted me to pull out of the fight. Mike Brown wanted me to pull out of the fight, but I couldn't. Yeah. Gamrot broke my ribs like right before fight week.
Damn
it was an accident. It was. What's crazy though, it was an arm bar. It was just my arm was pulled weird, and I did like a hitchhiker. I was trying to roll out, and then my ribs just popped. So it was a crazy accident.
Dustin Poirier fights his final fight in MMA later this month at UFC 318 in the main event against Max Holloway, a trilogy fight for the BMF title, so he could walk away with the BMF title if he gets the victory. He also won an interim championship, but he never won a undisputed title in the UFC. He went 0 for 3 in those fights. I wouldn't say he choked in those fights, but he did get choked in all those fights against Makhachev, Khabib, and Oliveira. Dustin Poirier will go down as one of the greatest fighters to never win a UFC title. Even though he did not win an undisputed title, he may still be inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame one day. And if not on his own merit, that fight with Dan Hooker, I think, will one day be inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. That classic fight at the UFC Apex. Also of note, if Poirier does walk away with the BMF title, both of his title victories will have been against Max Holloway. He also won the interim bout against Max Holloway in their rematch. Tom Aspeno would like to fight 4 times in the next 12 months. Unlikely, but might as well throw it out there. His first fight will likely be Cyril Gane. After that, who knows? Maybe Almeida, maybe Volkov. With no Jones fight, with no Ngannou fight, there really isn't many compelling matchups for Aspinall.
I don't know how realistic that is because, see, the heavyweights are a little bit different. First of all, there's not as many of us, especially if you look at the top 10 now. I've beaten 6 of them now. My goal is to beat 10 at the top 10. I want to beat all 10. But it's a little bit different with the heavyweights because, first of all, there's not as many of us. Second of all, injuries happen a lot more with bigger guys. We're not as active as we are at the smaller weights. But my goal is at least 3, maybe 4 between now and at the end of 26.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leon Edwards would like to fight Ian Gary next. Less than a year ago, Leon Edwards was the champ and the man to beat. Now he's ranked number 4. He's lost 2 in a row. He lost the belt, got stopped in his last fight. So things definitely changed quickly in the sport of MMA.
Definitely, that's the fight I've mentioned to the UFC. I think that'd be a great fight to get back in there. You know what I mean? So hopefully we can get that one done this year.
Jamal Hill thinks he won a couple rounds against Khalil Roundtree Jr. I remember watching the fight and thinking it was probably 5-0 in favor of Khalil Roundtree, but Hill disagrees. Nonetheless, it was a very one-sided fight in Roundtree's favor.
I thought that I had won the first round and the 5th round. You know, I've watched the fight back. I still feel as though I won the 1st and the 5th round.
45 and 50-45.
And I just think that it was a pretty boring fight just to score that one-sided. The one-sided was a little crazy. If I know people like want to see me lose as bad as possible, but if you could think that was on par with the type of dominations that we've seen for 5 rounds, like an example I'll use from my own experience, the Glover fight. If that was a 5-round domination, then the Glover fight should have been 40-50. I feel as though, I feel that in order for you to be dominantly and convincingly given every round like that, you should have to put more. There should be more work. There should be more work put in. But ultimately, don't leave it in the judge's hands. As you come out, you implement yourself in your will in the fight, and you don't have to worry about things like that. And that's not what I did.
Hill's argument may have made sense if they gave Khalil Roundtree Jr. a bunch of 10-8 rounds, but that wasn't the case. It was 10-9 rounds in Khalil's favor, and I really didn't see anything wrong that the judges did that night.